been a while, but then I'm back. So yeah. So I don't like wasting time. Let me just dive into today's content. So guys, as in today we're going to discuss in today's video we're going to discuss methods. So the only thing that you have to know, what is a method? Remember, a method is a block of code designed to perform a specific task. That means it's a block of code or a block of statements designed to perform a specific task. So why will you want to use a method? It helps you in what? In organizing your code, reducing repetition, and improving efficiency. I don't have to know it. Okay. And there are two types of methods when it comes to if you're going to be a programmer. We have a predefined methods, and user-defined methods. So as for predefined methods are methods which are built-in methods. That means they came with a programming language. They are built-in methods. And an example of a predefined method that we'll use are methods that belong to what? Those that belong to the math class. So this other class called math class. So for now, don't worry of what is the class. So now let's just focus on a method. Just know the class is a container for attributes and methods. And now we want to use what? The predefined methods in the math class. So guys, in order for you to call a method that belongs to a certain class, you have to do what? You have to mention the name of that class, which is the what? Is the math class. And you have to mention what again? A method. So the class and the method are separated by what? The dot accessor, which is a what? It's a full stop here. So yeah, the basic one method that we'll be using is a math.abs. ABS, it means for absolute. And remember, here a method you'll see it using what? A parenthesis, which are brackets. So and what inside the brackets you include what? The arguments. So this method, let's say you have a negative number. So let's say you decide to call this method like maths.abs. Then you include what? You decide to include maybe -7. Right. So this method will return what? 7. So whatever you put inside an absolute method, it will be returned as what? As positive. Even if you decide to put a negative 7.5 or 7.6, it will return what? Positive 7.6. That's the main function of what? Of the absolute method. Then you have what? The square root method. The square root method, which is remember, under a method, it can be either a function or a procedure. So when I say method, I'm referring to sometimes a function, but then this one is what? A square root function. So what does a square root function do? A square root function will always what? Return the square root of what? Of this argument x. So let's say, let's write math. Remember guys, when you call your method, you have to use what? A fully qualified name, which is what? The name of your class, then the full stop, then what? Then SQ. For square root is what? Is SQRT. Then what? Let's say you need the square root of what? Of 25. So that means your answer will be what? 5. So you see? So just know, for an absolute value, it returns what? A positive value. The square root, it will return a square root of this particular argument that you decide to what? To put inside the what? The brackets here. So then we have what? Another method is what? Maths.power. What does maths.power method do? It returns x raised to the power y. So remember, when you write your method, you use what? The fully qualified name, the name of your class, then what? The name of your method. And remember, and this method, it takes 2 arguments. It's not like the square root method or absolute method. So the maths.power, it takes what? 2 methods. The first method is x. So let's say the first method is x. Is x 2 to the power 3. That's why it works. So x raised to 3. The answer is what? It's 8. That's how it works. It's what? X is always raised to. Simple. It's like 2 to the exponent 3. That's how it works. So then you have what? Maths.round method. It runs to the nearest whole number. This one. It runs to the what? To the nearest whole number. Remember, when you call your method, you classify the name of your class because they belong to the math class. Dot round. Don't forget again. Always mention the name of your class again. Then what? Let's say you want to round off 4.7 And the answer, it's simple, is going to be what? 5. That's how you use what? A maths.round method. And the other method called maths.floor and maths.ceiling. This one use them to round off. But what's the difference between maths.floor and maths.ceiling? So for maths.floor method, it rounds to the nearest integer. Do you get it? It rounds down to the nearest integer. Let me show you. It's maths.floor again. So let's say you have an argument of what do you call 4.7. So guys, remember this term floor. Floor means it will round off, it will round down. I'm gonna floor like a floor. It will round down to the nearest integer, to the nearest whole integer. So if it is 4.7, the answer will be what? 4. It always round down to the what? It rounds down to the what? Nearest integer. Simple as that. Then let's say we have there's the other one. Remember to use what? The name of your class, then your method. Then our method here is what? It's ceiling. This one is what? The ceiling method. So the ceiling method, it rounds up to the nearest integer. Let's say you have 4.2. Most of you will think, oh, 4.2, that means the answer will be what? It will be 4. No, if you're using ceiling, that means you round off, you round up to the nearest integer. That means the answer will be what? 5. That's how it works. Remember, so you want to round off, you have 3 methods that you'll find inside what? Your maths class. Maths.round is the normal round that you guys use in high school. It rounds off to the nearest number. Then maths.floor, it rounds down to the nearest integer. I mean, if 4 is your integer, it doesn't care about if you have comma something. It's going to round down to what? To the nearest integer, which is 4 by this time. Like that. Then this one, maths.ceiling, that means it will round what? Round up to the nearest integer, which is by the time is what? Is 5. So make sure you understand and you can differentiate between these 3 methods that you use for rounding. Guys, there are many methods, but this one is just what? The basic methods that you maybe use or maybe encounter again. So make sure you practice them, because this video is going to be a part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is the theory part, no pressure. Then part 2, that's where we implement whatever that you are doing. And secondly, we have what? User-defined method. These ones are predefined methods, right? Because you can call them, they are built-in, you didn't do anything. The only thing that you did is just call them, which is called invoking them. You call them, then yeah, all was well. Then now, guys, we have user-defined method. What are user-defined methods? User-defined methods are methods which are created by programmers to perform custom tasks. These methods improve code readability and reduce repetition. So when you say user-defined methods are created by programmers, we mean they are created by you. You create them. Let's say you want to create a method that do something. Maybe that method is not predefined. So you have to do what? You have to create that method for you. Let's say you want to calculate text or something. You don't have a predefined method for that. Well, now you're going to create your own method based your own standard or whatever values that will be given. So, and we have 2 types of predefined method. We have a function and we have a procedure. So remember, we have 2 types of what? Predefined function. We have a method. You have a function and you have what? You have a function and you have a procedure. So what's the difference between a function and a procedure? A function returns what? Returns a value. A functions return a value. Doesn't mean a function of a function. It returns what? A value. Then what is a method? Guys, a procedure, I mean. A procedure, sometimes it is called by the name of a sub. If maybe we hear someone saying a subroutine or a sub-procedure, just know they are referring to what? They are referring to a procedure. So, a procedure, it sinus infections. It performs a task, but it doesn't return any value, but do not return any value. So that's the main difference between a function and a procedure. A function returns what? A value. Let's say you want to return only a one value. So use what? A function. So let's say you want to create something that will do something, display a message or something, then use what? A procedure. And a function will always have a data type. That one you have to know it. A function will always have what? A data type. So let's just write a practical example of how you can create a function. So first of all, use what? Our access modifiers, which is public. Then public what? Public function again. Then public function. What is what? The name of what? Our function. Let's say our function is supposed to what? Calculate text again. This is what? The name of our function. Remember, the first thing that we use what? Access modifier. And access modifier can either be private or public and other stuff again, or protected. So for now, we use what? Public function calculate text. This what? It tells our compiler that no, we're going to use what? A function by this time. Then what? As soon as you do what? A text will come over as what? As a decimal. So then as decimal. Then you do what? You enter what? Our function. Simple as that. This is how we do what? This is how we create a function. A function will always have what? A data type. Never make this mistake, because a function is supposed to return what? A value. So a function will always have a data type. Use access modifier, then this keyword function, then the name of your function. And guys, when you create or when you decide upon what you're going to name your function, remember, you name your function using what? Verbs, because your function is going to do something. So use what? A verb. Calculate text, calculate area. So you also use what? A doing word, because your function is going to do something again. So this thing, guys, you call it what? A header. So this one is a what? Is a function header, because it's a what? It's a function. So remember, on the function header, we're going to have what? The access modifier, the function keyword, the what? The name of your function, and what? And the data type of your function. Right. And now again, this is not a complete version of what? Of a function. Remember, sometimes you want to calculate text, sometimes they might give you what? Maybe that text again. So maybe we're going to say what? Text as what? As decimal. Remember, here, guys, you are creating what? A parameter. That means here, the person who's going to call your function will know, okay, sharp. As I've created my function here, that means I have to put what? Text. The text amount or whatever they will put in here. So it must be what? You must always put it inside what? Your parameters. So here you are creating your parameter. And when you call your function, you no longer put them or call them as what? As parameters. You call them what? Arguments. But now don't worry, it will make sense as soon as we code again. So remember, this other keyword called by var. Every time you use or every time you deal with what you call functions, also use what? When you get a value, you get the value using what? The by val. And we have something called the by val and what? And the by reference. So when a parameter is passed using a by val, that means a copy of the original value is made and sent to what? To the method. And when a parameter is passed using by ref, a reference to the original variable is sent to a method. So that's a definition or difference between a by val and by reference. So guys, remember, your function, it must do something, and a function must always return something. So before you close your function, you must always write what is keyword return. Then what are you returning? Let's say you're calculating text amount. Maybe text amount is going to be what? The value text multiplied by what? 0.15 or 14. Simple as that. Then you have to return what? The text amount. Simple as. So whatever that you're going to calculate, you must return it. Because if you decide not to write this return method, you get an error. Because as soon as you write function, you have to return what? The text amount, or whatever value that will be calculating. Whatever works for you, simple as that. And even if maybe you are lazy to write this thing, you can just take this particular one and put it here. You can just decide to do something of this nature. For those who are lazy, but then this is not a correct practice. Make sure you always use what? Variables to make your life easier in a code readable. So yeah, that's a function, guys. And remember, you're not limited on how many arguments or how many parameters you can set for a function. You can write 1,000 parameters if you want to. So yeah, that's a basic introduction to a function. Now, that's the biggest guy here, a procedure. As a procedure will just do what? It will perform a task, but it will not do what? It is not going to return a value. So, to write a function is simple, just public sub, and in the name of your function, maybe it's display what? Maybe display name, then maybe whatever name that you want to display, maybe you want to say I ref. So guys, if you use a what you call a procedure, if we won't say technically if you want to return something, but if you want to show or output whatever particular, let's say you make a calculation with your procedure, right? And because you can also make calculation with procedure, but then your calculation will return more than one value, so whatever value that you will try to return, you use what? The by reference. That means you're going to fetch what? The reference address of that value. So maybe there's by ref, maybe you want to return a name. Because don't forget the data type, string. Then what? And sub. See guys, it's simple, nothing. So you can see for a procedure is public sub, display name, then what? The by ref name is string. Simple, because you're going to return a name. Maybe that this name you're going to get it from the user or something. That's why you write the by ref. Then yeah, inside you can write whatever statement that you're going to do with your with your name or something. So guys, let's check the difference between this is what? This is a procedure header. This is what? A procedure header. This one is what? A function header. So guys, you can see the difference. Here in a procedure header, we don't have what? The data type. Because what? A procedure can return multiple values. We won't say return, but then it can do multiple operations. Then while doing those multiple operations, it can output different values and stuff. That's why we don't have what? A data type for it. So a function, the main reason a function has a data type is because it's going to return only one value, and that value must have what? A data type. And whatever value that you return here, text amount, it must be what? In decimal. So let's say here you decide to write a string data type. You decide to write what? A string data type. Then you return text amount. You will get an error because this arithmetic operation will return what? A decimal value. And whatever decimal value that you are returning, and somebody will say return text amount, you get an error because as soon as you declare the data type as a string, whatever that you return here, it must be in what? In the same data type as what? As your function. So make sure you don't make this mistake. So yeah, that's all of our theory part. Nothing big, nothing major. So yeah, that's why guys, for now the basic thing that you must know, the difference between a function and a procedure. Does a function return a value? Yes. Does a procedure return a value? No. The syntax is what? For a function is what? Public function, then the name of your function, then whatever arguments or whatever parameters that you want to set for a function, and then what? The data type. Then the other one is what? The return keyword. Make sure you don't forget the return keyword. Then what? Whatever value that you are returning. Then you have what? The end function. So this is a syntax. You open what? You open your function here. Then here you do what? You close your function. Make sure you don't forget that. Then you have what? For a procedure, the syntax is simple, public sub, then what? The name of your procedure or a sub procedure. Then what? Your parameters that you are setting. And a procedure doesn't have a data type. Never write a data type for a procedure. Unless, I don't know, whatever we'll be drinking that day. Then what? We close our sub. Simple. We open our sub, we close our sub. A function have what? A return keyword. A sub doesn't have what? A return keyword. So, and a function is used for what? Calculations and returning data. So if you have a calculation that needs one value, you want to use what? A function. It's used for calculation and returning data. And a procedure is used for performing actions. is used for performing what actions like displaying a text. Okay. Same applies to your event, your button click event. That's a procedure, a button click event, because you do what? You do some strange stuff, whatever. You can do multiple stuff again. So that's your event can be what? Your procedure. Simple as that. So for our final thought, predefined methods are built-in methods like what? Maths.square root, math.power. Okay? Then the user-defined method are created by you to what? To feed your specific needs. Okay? Then for procedures, we have what? Subroutines to perform actions without what? Returning values.